B2B TV, our fourth segment of B2B TV. We have a very, very special guest today. But first, I have a co-host today, Mr. Dustin Salazar, for this interview. We have a very special person today, a Florida Gator, played for the Florida Gators college basketball team. A very good friend of mine, someone who is very inspirational. He has his own story. He's doing a lot of great things, but we were also teammates. We won a couple championships together. We have a really good brotherhood, good friendship. Also with Dustin, he played AAU basketball with Dustin coming up, so we have a real good, rich relationship here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So give a round of applause for Mr. Matt Walsh.
Yeah! Thank you for that round of applause, gentlemen.
Yeah, you're welcome, Matt. So thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming to Lancaster, driving up. It's been a long time since we have. Last time we were in Belgium. I think the last time we actually seen each other.
Yeah, it's been too long. I think though, actually, the last time I saw you was in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Las Vegas.
We won't tell that story.
Definitely. This is for the youth. This is for inspiration and uplifting. So we'll leave that story out. But yeah, that wasn't that time. I forgot all about that. But yeah, bring you here today. We just want to. This platform here is to give our youth in Lancaster City and just in the whole, to kind of give them some inspiration and just some feedback on being an athlete, being a professional. You're also an entrepreneur, going through the school process and things like that. So I guess the first question would be, we know you and Dustin played AAU together. How was that?
It was great. I also got a chance to play with Lancaster's own Barry Patterson.
Yeah,
we were very fortunate to play on a team that had 10 or 12 Division I players. And, I think looking back on it now, we probably didn't realize how good we had it. But even then, one of the lessons I think we learned from that, playing on that team, was we had so many good players, it couldn't be about you. It had to be about the team. And if it ever did become about you, our coach Doc would plant you right on the bench. So it was fun. I enjoyed playing with Dustin, and I wish I could go back to those times.
Yeah, that's right, man. We had, like you said, a lot of players that won D1, and just talk a little bit how that helped you transition, playing AAU from the summertime into your basketball season at Germantown, and then after that, how did that help you transition into going into college?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was that I always had much better competition playing in practice or AAU tournaments than I ever did in high school games or, even college for that matter. It got me prepared, and having to guard you or having you guard me in practice and Mike Cook and all these guys that we played against, it made the high school season easy. And, we really pushed each other, and we wanted to win every tournament, we wanted to win every shooting drill in practice. So it got us, at least for me, it got me ready for the season.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of the best shooters you ever see ever. This guy can shoot with the left hand and right hand. Honestly, I never seen anybody like that. But the story I had about Matt was when we, rest in peace to Doc. He probably wasn't supposed to do it, but hey, he gave Matt Walsh $100 for making 25 or 25 free throws. Matt doesn't remember it, but I definitely remember it. So one of the best shooters you ever see around.
Come on, man! You can't be giving that information on here, man.
I'm gonna get it
top
right.
secret.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, right. This guy, man. So we know you went to Germantown Academy. Sorry about that. You went to Germantown with Lino Gioni as well, another local guy that from Manhattan Township, but from the Lancaster area, who's also a big name. Went to Duke. His dad went to Duke. He was a Dookie.
Yeah, Lee was one of my best friends. We met in 9th grade, and we were both, we both went to Germantown Academy pretty much just for basketball.
Yeah.
And we both lived really far away from the school, so we kind of had a lot of things in common. And it was great. I loved playing with Lee. He had a great career at Duke, and then he decided to, go into business rather than continue playing. But he was a very, very good player.
That's good. So now let's talk a little bit about after Germantown Academy. You became a Florida Gator with Billy Donovan. Is that correct? How was that whole transition from going to Germantown Academy, Florida, playing for Billy Donovan, who's now in the NBA?
Yeah, it was great. Pretty much the only reason I went to Florida was Billy. I went down there on a visit. I fell in love with, the campus was great and the players, but I really loved the idea of playing for Billy. And I probably had no business going there. I mean, they had like some of the best 2 and 3 guards in the country.
Right.
But I kind of just took the attitude that, I was going to go in there and find a way to play and carve out a spot. And playing for Billy was one of the best experiences of my life. Every game you'd be ready to run through a wall for him. And I, to this day, NBA, Europe, anywhere, I've never been around anyone who knew basketball like Coach Donovan.
Right. What's some quick advice you can give to kids, like, for making that transition and playing for somebody like Billy Donovan? What kind of outlet does he have, or his influence, or how he thinks about kids and their attitude and all that? Take us through that.
Yeah, I think a lesson that I learned from Billy that you can learn from the time you're 5 years old is that when you play for Coach Donovan, it's either 100% about the team and winning, or you're not going to be there very long.
Right.
And some people would point to Coach Donovan's program and say, hey, he's got a lot of transfers and turnover, and that's because Coach Donovan would wash out the guys who didn't buy into his system.
Right.
And it's easy to forget that sometimes. You think you're the best player, you think it's all about you, and throughout your whole career you may have that issue. But playing for Coach Donovan, it was clear. You either buy in and you're either about the team, or you're not going to be with the team.
Right. Because it always seems like now, just like through our era of now, through like the kids' era now, basketball, AAU, becoming like so saturated. You got all these different coaches. Everybody thinks they know. Parents think they know. But they don't understand that going through that, like, you can't jump from team to team. Like, if something doesn't work here with this organization, kids jump to another organization. And it kind of gives them a false sense of urgency and thinking that what they can't do here, they can do somewhere else.
Yeah, there's so many options for kids nowadays. Like you said, if you play on one AAU team and you don't start that weekend, you tell that coach, I'm going to do this other team promised me I could start. And I think that is a false sense of reality for kids, and then they get a real wake-up call when they go somewhere and they actually have to earn it. So, like I said, I don't think I had any business going to Florida. I probably wasn't even at that level, but I was willing to work, and I think if you go in any atmosphere like that from the time you're playing 10, 11, 12 years old till college or pro, that you're going to be willing to work for whatever you're going to earn, then you'll be a lot better off.
Right. So I know we talked about Billy Donovan a little bit. He's in NBA now, coaching for OKC. How does that make you feel? Or do you still have a relationship with him, or do you still talk to him, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's great. I was so excited. That's one of the reasons I'm still mad at Kevin Durant for leaving there. I wanted him to stay with Billy, but Billy's the best. Up until this year, my assistant coach Anthony Grant was also with Billy in Oklahoma City, and every time they come to play the Sixers, they leave me and my son tickets, and we go down and see him. And Coach Donovan is, he was a very important figure in my life, not just as a basketball coach, but as a mentor. And I love Coach Donovan. I do anything for Coach Donovan, and he, I think he would still do anything for me, which is a good feeling.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's good, man. Speaking about the NBA, you've been affiliated with a couple of NBA teams. Speak a little bit about that and how that experience was for you.
Yeah, it was cool. I look back on it, and I got to play a short time with the Miami Heat, and then a short time with the New Jersey Nets. And I always joke that the first game I ever played in the NBA, we played against the Memphis Grizzlies, and we blew them out. And I was playing on a team with like Shaq and D Wade, and I was in uniform. And I get in at the end of the game. First time I touch the ball, I drive and I shoot a floater and I make it. And I'm thinking, this is easy. And it was the last basket I ever scored. So I joke that I'm the only Heat player in history that has 1,000% field goal percentage. So, but it was awesome. At the time when I always thought I'd be able to get back to the NBA. It didn't work out that way. But now that I'm older and maybe a little bit wiser, I'm just honored and thankful that I got a chance to live my dream. It was my dream since I can remember to play in the NBA. So. For a long time, I looked at it as if I failed because I couldn't stay there. But now, it's just I'm excited to tell my son one day that I played in the NBA when he can actually understand it.
So that led you to be able to take your career over to Europe, and that's where our relationship came about. We were playing in Belgium, Charleroi together, and I think we might have been, for the Splash Brothers, we might have been the Splash Brothers in Europe. We were lighting some things up at that time.
There's no question, fellow MVP right here.
But yeah, so during that era when we were playing in Belgium, we won a couple of championships together. We probably won like 2 or 3 championships, a cup together, and we just talked about that before while we reconciled. During that time, that was probably like the best time, like through my career now, that I've been playing. That we had a group of guys that stuck together, because that's not rare in European setting.
Yeah, it's
well, it is rare.
You don't. I don't think we realized it while we were there. I wish we would have. We had such a great group of guys. Our coach was crazy, but that somehow made us closer.
Right.
And I think one of the mistakes I made in my career that if I could go back, I would do it differently was I was always thinking about the next job.
Yeah.
I was always thinking about, okay, I'm at this level, how can I play at the next level? How can I get back to the NBA? Or how can I get to the highest little team in Europe? Rather than just enjoying where I was and realizing like, wow, I have it really good here. Right. And I think that, like I said, if I could go back and tell my younger self anything, that's what it would be. It would be, I think people have a thing now where when you're in high school, it's, okay, well, how can I get to the best college? Okay, well, now what do I need to do to get to the next? And
right.
All of a sudden, you look and your career's over, and you're like, wow, I had an awesome opportunity. And yeah, I made a lot out of it, but I could have enjoyed it more if I would have known that.
Right. We're going to go to a break. We're going to go to a break here, and we'll be right back with Mr. Matt Walsh, Florida Gators. Well, we're back to our 4th segment of B2B TV. We have our very special guest, Mr. Matt Walsh, Florida Gator. As we were talking about, we just talked about his career and what things that he liked and what things he could have did better and things like that. But that happens when you're in this and you're in this lifestyle. Now we're going to talk about Matt's life now. While he's not playing, Matt retired 2 years ago. So now we're going to go into a little bit of that. Now, Matt, so what are you doing now? After basketball's over, you had a great career, you played at the highest level, you got a little bit of NBA in you, you made a good living in Europe. Now basketball has stopped. I'm hoping, I'm going to play 2 more years, so I still got some juice left. But you did well for yourself. So now elaborate on your life and what you're doing now.
Yeah, I was able to play 10 years as a pro, and that was something I always wanted to do. And then 2 years ago, some opportunities presented themselves. I've always invested a lot of money in real estate. It's my family business. My mom and my dad are involved, so I've been smart with my money. And I had some opportunities with, some business partners to get into some professional sports investing, to invest in some more real estate. And the way I looked at it then was, I could continue playing, which I love doing, or I could kind of get a jump start on the rest of my life. And as much as I love basketball and I would have liked to continue playing, I had some opportunities that I felt like if I passed up, I was going to be setting myself back for the rest of my life. So now I'm involved primarily in real estate investment. I'm a minority owner of 2 professional sports teams, about to be a 3rd, and I'm just trying to get to a place where I'm, financially independent.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing stuff. Your mentor, Jason Levine, he was the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers and also the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Jason Levine was my agent coming out of school, and I always joke with him that now he's owned 5 professional sports teams now, and 10 years ago he was representing me, trying to get me a job in Europe. So I always joke with him that anything's possible.
Right.
But no, Jason has been a really large influence in my life. He was my agent when I signed in Miami. He was my agent in Europe. He married me and my wife, actually.
Wow.
He oversaw our wedding. He's a close personal friend, and he's given me opportunities to invest in professional sports, which, kind of allows me to have one foot in the door with sports and also business. And, I'm very fortunate. I'll work with him for the rest of my life. And he's almost, he's one of the key people who allowed me to retire without having to keep playing and make money.
Right. And I think that's very important to always have people that are in your corner that have been there and know what your life's gonna be after. You know, 'cause I think that's the most important, to have those people around you for that, to make that adjustment like a smooth finish.
Yeah, for sure. I can tell you that just from my experience in the last 2 years being out of basketball, and even when you're in the NBA, it's the people you know and the relationships that you build that shape your whole life at all times. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough that Jason has really taken care of me, and I provided value to Jason, but the relationships that you build throughout your whole life is, you know, your network is your net worth, and that's true.
Right. And not just saying that, that's something that we want youth to know around, not just in Lancaster City, but all over the world, is that, you know, you have to put yourself and work with the right people who know and have experience in doing things, because that's how you're going to be able to maximize your life at the fullest extent.
Absolutely, and you know, how you present yourself from a young age will determine how people view you for the rest of your life. If you give a bad impression to somebody when you're 18 or 19 and you don't see them for 10 years, they're still going to look at you in that same way. So, you know, young kids, you know, one biggest piece of advice I can give you is keep that in mind, that you want to give the right impression and you want to cultivate any relationship you can. I mean, these kids in the area are lucky to have you and Dustin that care about them and reach out. And if I were them, I would be doing everything I can to get involved with you guys, because 10 years from now, when you guys are the mayors of the city, you know, they'll be able to come to you and say, hey, you know, remember I volunteered with you that summer, or remember I, you know, interned with you. And you know, the people that do the right things and the people that give you the best impressions are going to be the ones that you are the most eager to help.
Right. And that all goes into, like, you know, kids, you know, talking to your teachers, you know, talking to your mothers, your fathers, whoever it may be, someone who's older than you, who has wisdom, who's trying to help you. Because I think what a lot of people don't understand is that those people, those teachers, those police officers, those mentors, whoever it is who's trying to help you, they have a reason for trying to help you. You know, because I think a lot of kids they kind of get, you know, what social media. Not saying social media is bad, because social media does have a lot of value, but you know, kids see certain things going on, they think, well, I can just do whatever I want to do. But in reality, you know, you kind of hurt the people that's trying to uplift you in the right way.
Yeah, with coaches too. I mean, you know, as a player, you know, putting it in a sports perspective, you always think like, oh, well, that coach is out to get me. Or but when you look back at it, you think, why on earth would that coach be out to get me? You know, coaches, like you said, policemen, local leaders, they're here to help you.
Right.
And you know, there's going to be bad apples in everything you do in your whole life, but 99% of coaches are out to help you. 99% of these community leaders that are trying to help you truly care about you. So, you know, you need to go into those things with an open mind rather than just thinking you have all the answers.
Right. So now, Matt, I know you said that your mentor Jason, your partner Jason, he married you and your wife. I remember we were together, you didn't have any kids. You know, you weren't married at that time. So just tell me how that, you know, having kids and how that has improved.
Yeah, it's been great. I have a son who's 6 and a daughter who's 3. I can't imagine having a 13-year-old daughter. It's like crazy. I mean, when we met, I'm trying to think how old. JJ was just born.
JJ was about 3. Jasir was born in Belgium. That's when.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but he was still like almost like a baby. He wasn't
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, life happens fast. It's, you know, but having kids has been one of the best things, you know, that's ever happened to me. And I'm fortunate to have a great wife and 2 kids, and we gotta get them all together here.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah, man. Like you said, man, just I know you talked about your kids. What are the things that you try to teach your son right now? Because you know, like I spoke to Jerry about, we had a lot of guys before us come along that were influential on us, but they couldn't teach us that professionalism, what it takes and everything. So talk a little bit. I know your son is only 6, but right now is the age where you got to instill that type of thing into him. So what are some of the things that you tell your son that weren't told to you at that young age?
Yeah, you know, I feel fortunate that I had, you know, parents who were very involved in my life, and I feel like they did a pretty good job on me. But some of the things that I try and teach my son, primarily my daughter's a little bit young for it now, is just like I mentioned before, I teach my son that he's always leaving an impression on somebody. So, you know, I make sure that he shakes everyone's hand with a nice handshake and looks them in the eyes. And it may seem silly, he thinks it's silly, but I tell him, you know, they're going to walk away saying, oh wow, this is a polite little, you know, 6-year-old young man. And I just teach him, which I think is something that I didn't learn from my parents because they lived kind of a sheltered life, never leaving Philadelphia. Is I teach them to have an open mind, try new things. You know, I've lived all over the world. When I first got to Europe, I wouldn't leave my place. I was like, oh, I want to be back in America. And then you realize how great you have it, and you realize to embrace it. So I just tell my son and my daughter now is just, you know, have an open mind, try new things. You know, don't be closed-minded, because I think the people who have that attitude and who try new things and who, you know, look at the world in that kind of way are far more successful down the line.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So before we close, I know you touched on it a little bit, but just in a few words, if you can, just on your closing, give a little bit of advice for our youth out there watching. You know, you played AAU basketball, you played at the highest level of Division I basketball, you played in the NBA, got your stint in the NBA, you played in Europe, you're putting all this stuff together, you're an entrepreneur. Just give a little bit of advice to the youth out there watching, to kind of just something they can understand and learn from.
Yeah, sure. I would say two things. I would say one, coming from the area that I came from, you know, when I would say I was going to play in the NBA, or people would laugh at me. You know, it just doesn't happen. So I would say, you know, if you have a goal and you believe it, go after it. Go after it with everything you have, because really anything is possible. And the second thing I would say is take advantage of, you know, people like you in the community and programs and, you know, anybody who's willing to help you. Don't feel like it's a handout or whatever. Take advantage of it. I wish, you know, I look back and I just wish I would have done more. Always. And I wish I would have done more community service. I wish I would have taken harder classes. You're going to look back and realize that, you know, it's better to do more than to just skate through. And, you know, you're going to get that back in one way or another.
Well, there you have it. That's, you know, some great advice. I don't think you can get much more advice than what Matt Walsh has brought to B2B segment 4. In closing, I want to thank you again for watching. We want to thank Matt for coming up and you know, giving all his inspiration and his thoughts and ideas and just, you know, influence of how life's supposed to be, or being a professional player. You know, he's a professional, he's a husband, entrepreneur, he's a leader, and those are all things that we want to build here at B2B. And again, we're here in Lancaster, PA, and you never know, as I said before, who's going to show up to B2B TV. Youth leaders, teachers, principals, it doesn't matter, sports players. We want everyone to come here to try to uplift the community in a positive way. So again, see you in segment 5. Thank you very much.